Hi, welcome back. Certainly glad you could join us today because today I thought we'd do a fantastic little painting that I believe you're really going to enjoy. We've got a lot of letters in the past asking how to use the liquid clear. In this series, I've devoted a lot of the paintings to the use of liquid clear, and today's one of them. So let's start out and have them run all the colors across the screen that you need to paint along with us. And then come on up here and let me show you what we've got done already. This is a crazy looking canvas. I took a plain old 18 by 24 inch pre-stretched canvas, but you use any size that you want. And I took a little white gesso with acrylic paint, and I mixed the acrylic paint with white gesso and just sort of took a little foam brush and just gobbed color here and there. And I used nothing but cad yellow and alizarin crimson. And I put the white gesso in there to dilute it so it's not too strong. And with that, we've just painted little splotches of color, yellow and crimson, all over the canvas. Then I've allowed that to dry completely. Then we've taken, after that was dry, be sure that's dry, we've taken black gesso and I used a sponge and just tapped on all these little shapes with black gesso. And then we've allowed that to dry completely. So we have black gesso and then we have the colored acrylic back here. After all of this was good and dry, then we've covered the entire canvas with a very thin, so let me say that again, thin coat of liquid clear. And it's all ready to go. And I think you're going to enjoy this one. It's just a fun little painting. It'll make you feel good in here. Let's start out today. We'll use this little tiny 2-inch brush here. And we'll go right into a small amount of the phthalo blue. We need very, very little color because there's nothing on the canvas but liquid clear. Very, very little color. See there, there's almost none on the brush. Okay, let's go up in here. And let's start with a little bit of that blue and just begin putting in the indication of a gorgeous little sky. Something about like so. And we'll even put it back up in here. I'm going to have some big trees up here, but maybe some of this will show through. So go ahead and put a little in here too. We're just using little crisscross strokes, little X's. This is just the way the teacher used to grade my paper in school, man. She'd just go across it and do X's everywhere. Now, if this was a dry, or if this was a wet canvas, I'm sorry, and it had yellow under here, and you put this blue on it, you would have a bright green sky immediately, and we don't want that. Not today, anyway. Not today. Maybe sometimes, but not today. A little more of the blue. Because the acrylic's dry back there, you can put this blue over it without getting the bright green. It'll have a little greenish hue, but nothing like you'd get if it was both wet. Maybe I'll take just a least little touch of a little dark sienna, a little bit of alizarin crimson. Once again, though, we're using almost no paint. No paint. And I'll put a little touch of that right down in here. Some of those colors that we put on with acrylic will end up showing through when the painting's finished. And I thought today we'd do something that makes the background of this look almost like a watercolor. Very soft and misty, and watercolor has sort of a flowy look to it. It just flows. But this is oils, and this is a permanent medium. There. All right. And that easy, we have some gorgeous little colors happening back here. Now watch. Let's go into colors like, oh, the little bit of the dark sienna. I'll be right back. Right back. Let me get a little yellow ochre and mix right in there with it. Once again, I keep saying this, but it's important. Once again, there is very, very little paint on the brush. I'm just tapping the top corner of the brush right in there, okay? Now then, we'll go up here and we'll begin picking out little individual shapes. I'm not looking for a lot of detail. This is back in the distance. We're just looking for basic little shapes. There we go. Little things that live all back here. Something like so. There's a little touch of crimson, little dark sienna. We're going to hit a little Van Dyke brown once in a while. I'm just going to vary these colors back and forth, and all we're using is the top corner of this big old 2-inch brush. Something about like that. A little more of the yellow ochre here and there, just to create variations. Now then. I'm going to work in layers on this painting. I'm going to take a fan brush and dip it in paint thinner and then shake off the excess. Just shake it off. Now we go right up here, and you can use your knife. I'm just going to use the palette, but you could use a knife to flick. And I'm going to flick that. Paint thinner and the liquid clear have violent reactions. So it creates gorgeous little effects. Can you see what's happening right in there? And sometimes it'll take a minute or two for it to come up. But you'll get little spots. It's just so pretty. Look at that. And it's so simple. Now then, I'll use a little bit of the Indian yellow. It's a very transparent yellow. And I'm going to start on another layer. I want it to look sort of like, maybe like there's light coming through here when this is done. And this acrylic color underneath will cause that to happen automatically. There we go. Just let that work all up in here. There. Now then, I'm going to take a little script liner brush. We'll take a little of the dark sienna. Put a little paint thinner here. I'm going to make the paint very thin. Very thin. Turn the bristles in there. Turn it. That loads it full of color. Turn it. All right, let's go up in here. Now with that, we can come back in here and put the indication of some little sticks and twigs and all these little things that are happening back here in the woods. There. I don't want these to be too dark. I want them to stay way back in the distance. There we go. But just all kinds of little things that live in the woods here. There, maybe if I pull down it'd be easier to see. But you got all kinds of little trees and sticks and just happy little things that live back in here. Something about like so. Tell you what, that's fun. I'm gonna do some more of that. Let's take a little bit, I'm gonna even get into a little black now and then, maybe even a little bit of Prussian blue. But I'm just tapping. Let's go back up in here. I'm gonna tap in maybe another little thing that lives right here. But see, all these things you did with the black gesso, they end up looking like thousands of little leaves and little details that are in your painting, and people will just go crazy trying to figure out how you accomplished all that. There we go. And it's so simple. This black gesso is one of the neatest things that we've ever come up with. It really works, and it makes painting so much easier. And you use it in combination with the liquid clear, and it creates gorgeous, gorgeous effects. There we go. Add a little alizarin crimson in there to warm it up some. Maybe a little touch of the yellow ochre here and there. And back to my fan brush. Paint thinner. Shake off the excess, and we'll just flick it a little bit. Once again, I want to create that illusion of little dots, and looks like little leaves and things that are happening all back in there. And people will be amazed at how you did this. There. See? And you can see all that just happening in there. All right. Now maybe there's some nice reflections in here. Let's take the least little bit titanium white. I put a little, say that again, a little bit of dark sienna in it. And I just want to, maybe there's a little happy little pond that lives right out here. There's still very, very little color on the brush. If you put too much of the titanium white, it's opaque. It's going to cover up all of these, and I don't want to lose them. They're too precious. They make your painting gorgeous. Let's add a little touch of the phthalo blue to that, just to give it a little, oh, I like it better. Looks like transparent water now. So there's a little titanium white, a little, I know you get tired of hearing the word little, but I don't know any other way to express how small amount it is. A little of the phthalo blue. There. But already you begin to see how transparent that is, and you can see through it. Just like that. Then we can sort of come back with our same colors, and we can tap in the indication of some little reflections in this. Not much, don't want a lot. Not much, just want a few little things in here. Something about like so. A little touch of the yellow here and there. There, just to create the illusion of some reflections. I'm just knocking off the excess paint there. And we'll pull it down. There we are. Okay. And then very lightly, we'll just go across. And you can see right through that water already. I'm going to take a little touch of the Van Dyke, mix it with a little dark sienna. We'll just mix them together right here. And let's begin thinking, pick up a little roll of paint right on the edge of the knife. Let's begin thinking of some land mass that lives back here, that all these little things are, they have to have a place to stay. So they're staying out here on this, something like that. Maybe a little here. Maybe this goes back behind there. We don't know where it goes. We don't care where it goes. Make a happy little pond out of that. That easy. That easy. We'll take a little crimson, maybe a little yellow ochre, mix it together with some white. A little dark sienna in there. Ooh, that's beautiful. A little roll of paint. Then we can go back up here and very lightly, I want to just put the indication of a little highlight here and there on that. Just a little. Something like so. Don't want a lot of highlight. This is too far away. Much too far away. There, and the edges, I'm just going to take the knife and sort of fuzz them up in there. So they just disappear. Just up and down, clean knife. And that just sort of fuzzes the edges away. All right. And with our liner brush, we can go back, add a few more little sticks that come off these land areas. It'll help bring it all together. And in the woods, you always have a lot of little sticks and twigs and little things that grow right along in here. That's where all the little animals live. There. Everywhere I go now, people ask me about Peapod the pocket squirrel. You saw him in some of the earlier series. And Peapod, I think I might have mentioned before, he's grown up and we've turned him loose, and he's got his own family now, a little condo in Miami, BMW, car payments every month. Same thing we all have, except I don't have a BMW. There, let's take a little bit of the liquid white. I'm going to put the least little touch of bright red in it, just enough to warm it up a little. Don't want to set it on fire, just warm it up. And very lightly, we'll go in here and we'll put the indication of some little water lines in here. Something like so. Get a little more paint. There. Add a little touch of the phthalo blue in there. I want to give it a little variation here and there. Something like so. You can just sort of vary these colors however you want them. But see, now you can see under the water. You can see all those things that are underneath there. And that's very hard to accomplish sometimes, but using the acrylic in the background and the black gesso, it's very simple. You can do it even if you've never painted a painting like this. There. Something about like so. And when you stand back and look at that, I see just an absolute perfect place here. I'm just pulling that up a little. I'm going to fuzz these edges out. Perfect place, right? I got to do this. Sometimes you get excited, you see things in paintings. Let's take a little bit of the liquid white and mix it with a small amount of titanium white. I put the liquid white in there only to thin the paint. Be right back. Get a little touch of that phthalo blue. Ooh, that's pretty. Just a little though. Now this paint's a little thinner than what we've already put on the canvas, so it should flow on there. Let's go up and see. Maybe in our world, the water's just having a good time playing along here, comes over and says, floop. It just fell right over the edge. Look at that. It just fell right over, and over on this side, maybe it's coming around. Just make up little stories. Say, think about the water just running through there and playing, having a good time. And all of a sudden, somebody pulled the stopper out, and it fell right off. And we can take the brush, give it a little upward push, Make a little splash here and there. Water's coming off through here. Add a little more of the blue. There. Just let all these little things just sort of happen. Just sort of happen. There. Just want to graze the surface here. There we go. This is getting darker and darker back here. It's going to be in the shadows, I think, when we get finished. Let's put something up here to contain all this. We wouldn't want all this water just to be standing up here in space. So maybe in our world there lives, maybe there's a great big old rock that lives right out here in front of the waterfall. Maybe it comes back like that. Big old rock. We'll just fill that in with Van Dyke brown. All those good colors. There. And we'll take a little touch of brown and white and very gently here. I'm just going to let that work its way down. Barely touching. There we go. Something like so. There's not a lot of color here because I want this to be pretty dark and in the shadows. Add a little bright red to that. There. Ooh, I like that even better. Something like so. Maybe. Shoot, bravery test. Maybe we'll have a big old tree that lives right here. So we'll just take the knife and put a big old tree trunk in there. This is just Van Dyke brown. We'll have a big old tree. This is such a gorgeous place. Old tree, you'd want to live right in there somewhere. Take a little bit of that brown and white color that we have. And I'm just going to touch and sort of let it bounce as it goes around. Excuse my arm there. Just touch it and let it just sort of appear. Maybe it'll be in the leaves and it'll be in more in the shadows. You can just paint big old trees using nothing but the knife. In fact, you can do entire paintings using nothing but the knife. There we go. Maybe there's an arm that lives right out in here. There, put a little highlight on him. Just enough so you can see him good. All right. But see, already that black gesso is beginning to give the impression of leaves behind that tree. Now then, let's go over here. On the other side, we have to contain it. Maybe it comes out down, like that. We don't know, however you want it. Just putting some dark color in there. We don't need much dark color because of the gesso. Once again, the black gesso gives you those dark values almost automatically. There. All kinds of things. Let's put some leaves on our tree. For that, I'm going to use some black, some Prussian blue, maybe a little brown and crimson. Mainly good dark colors. Just tap like that. And we'll just put some base color into here, just here and there. Then we'll come back and we'll put some nice highlights. Just all kinds of beautiful little things. But all we're doing right now is just filling in some of the base color. There. Shoot, well, we got that going. Let's have some on the other side over here too. I want to try to leave some openings in here if possible so you can see the sky through there. I think that's very pretty and it looks natural, it looks real. Don't want to kill them all. But if you do, that's no big deal. Your tree is just a little thicker than mine. Maybe he's bigger and stronger. Good. And then put some highlights on there. Today let's use that little oval brush. Take a little bit of the sap green, a little bit of yellow. There, a little yellow ochre, some Indian yellow. And then I'm going to touch the bright red. Maybe I'll put a little black in there. I want to dull that down. So, ooh, that's nice. See, load a little color right in there. Let's go up in here. Now this little oval brush makes gorgeous little leaf shapes in your tree. Very easy, even if you've never painted leaves or if you're having trouble with them. This little rascal makes it simple. Just think about shape and form. Don't just throw them on at random. No matter how well the brush works, you still have to think of basic shape. There. All right. I like paintings like this. Reminds me of deep places back in the woods. And I like to go back in places like this with a camera and set real still, and the little animals come out, and you'd be surprised how many animals you can see if you just talk very softly and remain very still. Let's go on the other side over here. They'll come out and talk to you a lot of times. Now, if you begin understanding them, you may be in a little trouble there, but there. Okay. But isn't that fantastic what that old brush will do? We'll just tap all these little things in here. Think about little shapes, though. Once again, don't just hit it random. Don't hit it random. There. Maybe down like so. And we can put the indication here and there of a few little trunks and sticks that we can see back in here. We don't want a whole lot. Just where you think you might be able to see a few things. Wherever. This is just a little dark sienna, paint thinner in it. There. Put all kinds of little things that live in there. Let's go on the other side and put some over here too. We don't want those left out because there's all kind of little doers back in here. All right, let's take a 1-inch brush. I'm going to dip it into a little bit of the liquid white. We'll go through some cad yellow. I'll be right back. Get some sap green in there. Pull it in one direction. Load it full of paint. Let's go up in here. Now, maybe in our world there lives all kinds of little bushes and trees and things back in here. Just all kinds of numerous little happy things. There they come. There they come. Sometimes it's fun just to take the old brush and go sideways here. And you can begin putting in layers of little grassy areas. A little more of the yellow ochre. There. See, you don't need anything because the black gesso's back here. You already have your dark colors. Maybe that climbs right up the hill in places. Something about like so. And maybe there's a, well, right there. See, we'll have another little bump. A little brown and white. Give it a little highlight so it looks like there's a little dirt showing right there. And we can go back and pop in a couple of more little bushes that live in there. But it helps create the illusion of a lot of distance and depth in your painting. I'm going to take a little black and that yellow. It makes a nice green color. Come right in here. Put in all kinds of little bushes. There we go. Little yellow ochre, all those colors. Indian yellow sometime. Just vary your yellows back and forth. Okay. There's one. All right, let's go over here on the other side and put a few little things in. Maybe there's a happy little bush that lives. Yep, you're right, right there. Something like that. There's one. As many or as few as you want. So there comes one right down the side. Push upward with the side of the brush. It creates the illusion of little tall grasses and stuff that live in there. Okay. Maybe a little dark area right in there. Just to sort of separate that a little. Okay. Take the knife, scrape through, and put in all kind of little sticks and twigs and little things that live back in here. And when you scratch here, the black gesso shows through and it makes little black twigs and sticks. And they live everywhere. Once again, they're everywhere. Let's take a little filbert brush. That's a lot of fun. And take a little white, a little touch of dark sienna, maybe a little black in it. Okay, then I'm going to take paint thinner and mix with that, make it very thin. Nice thin color. I'm going to dip the brush in paint thinner. This is a filbert. And we'll go right through a little bit of Van Dyke brown. Both sides, get it full of paint. And then I'm going to take one side and go through that nice thin grayish color that we made. So one side's light, other's dark. We can come up in here and put all kinds of little stones and rocks that live back in here. And you can do the entire stone in one stroke that way. Maybe there's some over here. See there? You can just put them wherever you want them. Maybe there's some live down in here. Wherever. Then we can take our fan brush, a little phthalo blue on it. Might even put a little black to dull it down. We want it to be darker back in here. And we come back in here and just put the indication of some little ripples that just disappear right on into the distance. All kinds of little things that are happening. There. Little liquid white, little titanium white. And you can just pop in all kinds of little foamy, ripply things that go right on out. But isn't that neat? This liquid clear and black gesso will give you some of the neatest combinations. Give it a try. I really think you'll like it. I think with that, we're going to call this old painting finished. I hope you've enjoyed it. And from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting, and God bless, my friend.
This program is brought to you by a grant from Northlight Books, publisher of over 200 how-to books and videos for fine artists and graphic designers, and by the Martin F. Weber Company, manufacturers of a wide range of fine artist materials and exclusive U.S. distributor of Whatman watercolor and printmaking papers.